So if you're watching this right now, just be honest with yourself and take a moment to pause and reflect on what you have done and how you have performed in the market over the past couple of months, and ask yourself, are you happy with that? What did I do wrong? What could I improve on? And what did I do right? Because when we have the kind of movement that we've seen in the past couple months in the markets, people tend to make really stupid decisions and really emotional decisions. And a lot of times it gets the best of them. They just sell when really they shouldn't be selling, or buying more than they should be buying. At the end of the day, people's emotions overwhelm their logic. So why am I making this video? When I was reflecting on my personal journey and how I acted in the markets in the past couple months, I came to a really important conclusion. Honestly, through this whole drama in the markets recently, I've stayed pretty calm. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't dump everything. I didn't sell things I shouldn't have sold. I didn't panic. I didn't sell at the bottom. And I just kind of stuck to my original plan. I didn't do anything out of the norm. And I'm honestly pretty proud of that, because honestly, past me may have not handled that in the same way that I did just now. Because I did watch my portfolio move like crazy, and it was definitely tough. It was not easy. It was super psychologically draining. So then I really started thinking, how was I actually able to do that? What is the number one factor that kept me from panic selling, or from overthinking, or for doing crazy things or stupid things? And it came down to this. I think the only thing you need to make money in the stock market is conviction. Plain and simple. I think it's so important to talk about, and I promise you, if you give me 5 minutes, after you watch this video, you will have a much better investing experience. I promise you that. Okay, so very quickly, what is conviction? Conviction is a deep, unshakable belief in the asset or company that you are buying. It's not just an idea or you believe in the hype. It's way deeper than that. It's something you've researched, something you've really understood and personally believe in. It's essentially the true reason as to why you're putting your hard-earned money into another company. Like, why are you actually becoming an investor of that company? And this conviction should be your grounding point, and it should be something that you constantly come back to, revisit, expand, and evolve with as time goes on. So now that we know what that is, let's talk about what happens when you actually don't have conviction and the effects that this can have. It's pretty clear when an investor does not have conviction, because you start reacting emotionally to price movement, and that's never a good thing. And I know it's like very simple concept, but sometimes we don't realize how emotional we can be until we take a good look and reflect on this matter. You sell things that you shouldn't be selling. You're selling too early or in the wrong times because you're uncertain, and you're letting the market dictate your actions. You start to chase things and start to feel FOMO. Again, these are all emotion-based responses. And one important thing to note is that you start to rely on other people's opinions on things rather than your own true self. A lot of people just go to YouTube immediately and look up a stock. Oh my God, what is Palantir doing? What should I feel? What should I think? They are looking for external validation for things that they are putting their money in. That doesn't make any sense. You should never be looking at someone else's opinion and taking that and using that as your own, not even mine. But that's why I'm talking about this in this video. You cannot expect to be grounded in your investments if you're constantly looking for external validation on things that you have your personal money invested in. You can't have somebody on YouTube telling you what to think or feel. So I had a lot of friends actually text me and say, hey, what should I do? Should I sell? Should I buy more? What are you buying? This and that. Honestly, kind of panicking over the past couple months. And all I continue to say is the same message. Hey, I'm sticking to my plan. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm doing the same thing I've always done. I'm not selling. I'm just staying on my plan and nothing else. I'm not doing anything at all. I'm just namaste, staying calm. But that's when I realized that no matter what I told my friends, or how much advice I gave them on this and that, or how much I told them to stay calm and not panic and not sell, I could never build conviction inside of them. That's something that needs to happen from within on a personal level, because it's their money that's being invested and it's their stocks that they're choosing to pick. It's not mine. It's something really personal to each investor. So if you don't have conviction, you will never feel okay. And you will constantly, time and time again, run into the situation of panic and fear when the market moves against you. And stemming from that, you will probably make irrational decisions, or decisions that don't benefit you over the long term. With that being said, what does it feel like to actually have conviction? So when you have true conviction, a few things start to happen. Firstly, you can hold through way more drastic movements in the market and actually with way less stress. You're able to literally sleep better because you're not so stressed out about the movements of the market. And you actually become excited to buy more when the days are red. You stop checking prices obsessively, like day to day, hour to hour, second to second. I know that can be super mentally draining because I've done that before and I stopped doing that. And most importantly, when you have conviction on a stock, you feel like a business owner, not just somebody that's speculating on a random stock. You actually begin to understand that you are using your hard-earned money to buy a piece of another literal business, which is what you're doing when you're investing. Like sometimes we forget, but you're actually owning a piece of that company and their journey. So don't forget that. And I know for a fact that having conviction in the things that you are buying is absolutely key to your success. When I reflect in all of this, I think it has been the number one key factor in any success that I've had in the markets, to be honest with you. So now that we've established all of that, how do you actually build conviction? Okay, now firstly, something that's super important to mention is that the money that you are investing needs to be something you are completely comfortable with investing. And that means, yes, you're willing to risk losing it, not that you will, but you have to not be in survival mode with this amount of money. If you're constantly in survival mode and the money that you are investing is money that you actually may need, you will never be able to build conviction because you won't even have the foundation to build conviction on top of. It's just not going to happen. If you're constantly worried about the movements of your money and you cannot handle that money being in the red, first of all, you shouldn't be investing. But second of all, you will never be able to build conviction on the things you're buying because they're going to be on a really shitty foundation. And if that foundation is not strong, you will never be able to build on top of that. So before all of this, you have to get a job, you have to make money, you have to have expendable income that you can use to invest. With that being said, if you do have a solid foundation and something you can build on top of, then let's start building some conviction in the things you're buying. Firstly, you have to do the research. You have to understand the fundamentals, the product, the team, the growth potential that that company has. It has to be something that you really understand. And the things that you personally understand and align with are going to be different from mine, and they're going to be different from Billy's, and they're going to be different from Joe's. And that's the beautiful thing about investing, is that everybody has the opportunity to actually make the portfolio that they are most interested in. And I think a key factor in building this conviction is choosing companies that align with either your passions, interests, hobbies, or anything that aligns with your character personally. For example, I may not want to invest in a food related industry, but my friend Joe, for example, might really be into the restaurant business. He's a chef, he has personal connections to that industry, and he really understands the model. Then that's amazing for him, and I encourage him to invest in those type of things if he's comfortable with it. But it's not for me, and I choose to invest in the things that I'm comfortable with. And again, this goes back to the idea of continuing to build on top of that foundation. Like the more layers you add of strength, the better your conviction will be. And this is one of them. Make sure that the companies that you invest in align with your character and your personal beliefs. Because when you actually care about the company and what they do, your conviction is just going to be way easier to build. Once you have identified a company that you like and that fits your narrative and you have the money to invest, then the conviction starts, of course, but then it grows over time. The more due diligence that you put and the more effort that you put into researching this company. So once you have the money to invest, once you understand your passions and interests, once you identify that company that meets that criteria, and once you start doing the research and understanding of that company, your conviction starts as a small seed. Then over time, this conviction should grow and evolve along with you. The more due diligence that you do, the more research that you do, and the more developments that occur with that company over time. So with time, your conviction can really grow and solidify inside your mind. And this is going to be super important to weather the storm when it comes to the market. Because here's what happens. Let's take an example of building, right? You have built a house and a foundation that is so strong, and the structure itself is so strong that it is literally impenetrable by other factors such as panic, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Those things cannot infiltrate that house and allow you to make rash or stupid decisions. The stronger the foundation and the structure is, the more resilient you will be and the more success you will have in the markets, because you will not allow your emotions to overpower your rational thinking. This house can be your calm in a really intense storm. It's something that you keep coming back to in times of fear, panic, and uncertainty to stay safe and shielded from this bullshit. You do not let outside influence of other people's opinions affect you. You don't let the movements of the market and the rationality of the market affect you. You are literally a rock solid investor if you have this foundation, and it is all built on conviction. And I say this all from personal experience. As I've said before, I've reflected a lot on the things I've done in my own personal portfolio, and this is the number one key factor that stays true across all the metrics that I look at. My best investments have been the ones that I have had the most conviction in. It's so simple. I didn't try to be smart. I didn't try to play this and play that or trade this and time that. It has been the ones where I simply had conviction. I bought, I held, I added. Those have been my biggest winners. But I do want to say it's not easy at all. Like, I went through a lot of emotional and psychological roller coasters, seeing my portfolio go up by a lot and then down by a lot over the past couple of months. It's a really strenuous process for your psychology. But now, like, going back to the analogy of the house, I feel like I have such a strong house in the things that I own that I no longer feel any sort of stress when it comes to the market. I'm letting that thing do whatever it's got to do, and I'm just here sitting back, continuing to do what I always have done, and I'm not letting the market movements affect my psychology. I've gotten to a point where I'm just like, namaste, that thing's going to do what it's got to do, and I will sit here in patience and continue to be resilient. And I just think that's something I had to share with you guys because I like this feeling. And I think a lot of other investors should have that same feeling as well, as I think it's super beneficial to overall long-term success. And I hope that this continues to be true for me along the rest of my investing journey. I really do believe that conviction is the thing that will carry you through corrections, the shakeouts, the bad news, all the doubt. That's the one thing that will truly be able to carry you across over a long period of time in your investing journey. And I've really come to conclude that that's the reason I'm still here, building calm and confidently. And I want you guys to do the same. I'm just here to hopefully provide some value to other investors who are in the same journey as me. That's it for this one. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.